Network. A crystal clear night in the crossroads of the West, Salt Lake City, where tonight another capacity crowd surges inside the Huntsman Center to see their beloved number 4 Red Rocks of the University of Utah as they host the Stanford Cardinals. It's live and it's only on the Pac-12 Network. Hi everybody, Jim Watson alongside former UCLA star Janae Honest, and she loves coming to the Huntsman Center. You'll see, she just tries to contain it. Welcome to the Wasatch Front. Once again, Utah has a spectacular team. They're ranked number 4 in the country. They've won 7 in a row. They're ranked in the top 10 on every single event. But enough about Utah. There's 2 teams on the floor. What's at stake for Stanford?
Yeah, Stanford has had a lot of obstacles thrown their way this season with sicknesses and injuries. So their biggest goal right now is to shift their focus from scores and outcomes. They have a long-term vision, which is getting their athletes healthy so they can put up a full lineup of 6 consistently come postseason.
The headline for Utah this year has been the beam. They're number 2 in the country, and of course most of the headlines involve Miley O'Keefe for good reason. 3 perfect 10s, number 1 in the sport all time. But there's other stars on the beam, like Abby Paulson, who, by the way, is a 2-time Pac-12 champion on that event.
Yes, Abby Paulson has been so very consistent, and she's actually been the unsung hero on the balance beam. Calm and confidence has been her focus and her mantra this year, and it's Era's night here at Utah, so I know she cannot wait to compete her dream Taylor Swift floor routine.
Taylor Swift makes her way into everything these days. 6 straight scores of 9-9 or better for Abby Paulson on the beam. How about for Stanford? Well, they had their best road meet of the season last week in Corvallis. Ana Paula Gutierrez threw a career-best 9.95 to win the vault and was named the Pac-12 Specialist of the Week.
Known as AP on the team, after taking a year-long leave, she came back to the sport with a different, fresh perspective. She has a new love for gymnastics. She scaled back and is now just competing on vault and bars, but she has the unique skills and difficulty to let those events shine.
Ana Paula's Specialist of the Week award, well, that was the first for the Cardinal since the great Elizabeth Price won it way back in 2017. Stanford is threatening to pop a 197. Utah closing in on a 198. Number 4 Utah and Stanford. It's live from the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City and only on the Pac-12 Network. The Huntsman Center is the Center for Performing Arts. We'll be back in Salt Lake City a month from tomorrow. That is March 23rd. The 2024 Pac-12 Women's Gymnastics Championships for the 3rd year in a row at the Maverick Center just across the valley in West Valley City. For tickets, pac-12.com/tickets. It is the best day of gymnastics because it lasts about 8.5 hours and you get to see all 12 teams in the conference. Speaking of champions, got a couple on the floor from back in the day. And now they're coaching. Carly Dockendorf was the 2003 Pac-10 uneven bars champion for the University of Washington, now the head coach at the University of Utah. Tabitha Yim is back at her alma mater, where she was the 2008 Pac-10 Gymnast of the Year and also won the balance beam title as well. Now look, they look the same as they did back in the day. Why am I the only one who's aging?
Have not aged a day.
Both fantastic. Tabitha now in her 7th season back on the farm. Remember, she was head coach at Arizona for a couple of seasons. Also in her 7th season here at Utah, but her 1st season as the head coach. There's Jimmy Pratt, assistant head coach here at Utah, pacing down the runway over on the vault, and that is where Utah will begin its evening. They are ranked number 9 in the country, number 3 in the conference, averaging a 49.2, and they start with a kid, a freshman from here in Utah, the only Utahn on the roster for the Red Rocks, Cammie Winger. Winger's been in the lineup on vault in every meet. Her best, a 9.95, came in the Sprouts Farmers Market quad early in the season, and she won the event with a vault like that.
It was a great start for Utah, and what a way to set up the rest of the lineup. She has great form, she's dynamic, and she gets good turnover, which is how she was able to find that stick.
Just what you want in a starter. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for a rookie, and she comes through again. For Stanford, going over to the bars, Stanford is 43rd in the country. They're only averaging a 48.7, but they've been improving their scores. And here's Claire Dean to lead off, but we're going to say that all night.
Oh yes, she's the lead off on every single event, which is so very impressive. And unfortunately, she comes off the bar. She starts off with a beautiful ray, but she just got her fingertips off. She didn't take her feet off at the right time to stay above and have that good position above the bar to catch it.
Complete speculation, but at that point in her routine, the crowd erupted when they saw the score over on vault. And normally when you're on bars, you're not used to the crowd all of a sudden exploding right behind you. So I don't know that it had anything to do with it, but it happened at the same time.
Right, that is something you have to keep in mind here at Utah, because it's very electric in here, and the crowd can definitely have an impact.
Claire Dean comes back and finishes the routine. Remember, 6 will compete and only 5 score, so they could drop her score if need be.
Yeah, she was just a little too far away from the bar to get her hands completely over that bar, so she had to come off, and they do have 6 on that event, so hopefully they can not count that.
And there's the 9.95 for Winger that the crowd reacted to. That ties her career best. Another freshman in the 2-hole for the Red Rocks, Ella Zerbis. All meets in a career high 9.875. She's done it twice.
Another 10.0 start value vault. Another great landing. She also has solid form, a really great vault. She just had a little tiny hop in the ending. Let's take a look at the slow-mo. Yeah, the form was great throughout, and she just had a little scooch forward. So I believe that's a little hop.
Lays together through the air. She's happy with it.
Oh, absolutely.
And flashes the U. Not as recognizable as Utah normally is in their home Reds, but tonight wearing it's the Red Rocks Eras Tour.
It's the Eras Tour, yeah, that's the theme. Like you said, you can't escape Taylor Swift these days.
It's Taylor's world, we're all living in it. Anna Paula Gutierrez, second up. And there's Tabitha Im, head coach, just in the background. Still waiting on the score for Claire Dean. Sometimes when there's trouble, it's harder for the judges to come to consensus on the number. Again, Stanford's probably already thinking about wanting to leave that number behind and go 5 for 5 to finish the rotation.
And I love seeing how Anna Paula really just stays in her zone. You know, some gymnasts like people to come up to them, or, you know, have their coaches talk to them to stay out of their head. But Anna Paula really is someone that is able to just stay focused by herself.
Coaches have to know, right?
Yep.
Does she want to be bothered? Does she want to be left with her own thoughts? So you can see Tabitha Im is just steps away, but it's just allowing her this time. This has been a great event for Anna Paula Gutierrez this year. All 5 of her bars routines have been 9.8 or better. She had a career high 9.925 against Washington. So the score is in for Claire Dean, and again, 6 compete, but you only have to count 5 of the scores. So Gutierrez, Dalton Robinson, Alexeva, they're all going to want to score.
And Anna Paula is superb on this event, really locking in those handstands. Gorgeous straddle Jaeger, directly connected to that bail. She's also a very aggressive swinger. Gorgeous lines. Very unique dismount. She does a double Arabian dismount.
Gutierrez is scheduled to go in the vault, but not on beam, so it kind of changing up her program a little bit. We go from 2 freshmen who went 9.9 plus to the sophomore, Ashley Glenn. Glenn, the transfer from Temple, where she was always 9.8 or better. This year, she's already got 9.925, did that against Arizona State. Utah just beat UCLA at Westwood. She had a 9.85 on this vault.
Her vault is stunning. She's got the power and a really nice block off the horse as well. She has the height, the distance. The form is excellent. And it's really sets Utah up well because they have 5 vaults that start from a 10, and they have that 9.95 at the end. But just look at that form in the air. She did land on that line, but they do prefer the gymnast to step forward rather than being under-rotated.
All right, so Stanford is back on track with Gutierrez 9-8. I know they would have liked a little bit more out of that. Brenna Null has been an all-arounder since the day she stepped on campus at the farm. This was a great event for her last year, and she's been solid once again 3 times. She's got 9.85 or better, her best, a 9.9 against Arizona State.
She's a solid bar worker. Beautiful Maloney, directly connected into a pack salto. Beautiful handstand. Sometimes you see when they do a half pirouette, well, they'll fall out of that vertical that the judges are looking for. Toe shoot to full pirouette, double tack, and sticks that landing.
That's a good start for her, and she's got a busy program tonight, scheduled to go in the all-around. One of the leaders for Stanford, former Southern California all-around champion at the club level. Glenn, 9.85, so freshman, sophomore, before we get to McKenna Smith. McKenna Smith, 71 consecutive hits. She's been an all-rounder in every meet this year, and we feel like she's a veteran because she's a star, but she too is only a sophomore.
I love her vault. She's an amazing vault. She did have a significant hop forward, so the judges will be taking off for that, but it's not often where you see Yurchenko half on, pike off, and she does it beautifully. Great block off the horse. So it's really just figuring out when she needs to open up to prepare for that landing to take out that tenth and a half hop forward.
So high and so calm in the air. She looks like a diver coming off the table.
That's a great example, a diver, exactly.
She spots that floor on the rotation. 9.925 for Brenna Null. That's a good score for Stanford. Sienna Robinson. So they're 2 for 2 after the fall. Need to go 5 for 5.
And Sienna has a beautiful technique. She has an elite background, and I actually remember watching her as a junior elite.
Sienna's a freshman from Vegas. This is only her second bars routine of the season. She had a 9.8 at Oregon State last week.
Great routine so far. She's a little shy on that last pass handstand.
Makes up for it on the dismount. Oh yeah, you can smile. That was a good effort.
Next up,
9.825 for McKenna Smith. So the scores are going in the wrong direction for Utah, but Jaden Rucker is just the type that can turn it around. She's a former national champion on this event. 3 career 10s on vault.
She's excellent on this event.
Just landed on the heels.
Yeah, she's a little under-rotated. She didn't get enough block off the horse to give her the rotation she needed. But beautiful in the air. She is a very dynamic gymnast. Let's take another look at that.
She's had a 9.975 this year on vault, which means one of the judges gave her a perfect 10. She's always over 9.8.
Yeah, it looks like she was a tad high on, so she couldn't get the block she needed off the horse. But she stayed on her feet.
next up on bars for Stanford,
Alexeva in the 5 spot, the 9.825 for Robinson. So they're actually doing a good job here rescuing this rotation, but they need 2 more. Vieira had a breakout on this event last year, and this season, all 5 of her efforts, 9.825 plus.
And this routine has the difficulty. She just did a toe shoe into a Higgins, which is an eagle grip. You need insane shoulder flexibility for that. Just beautiful skills. Spectacular bar worker. Look at her toe point. Exquisite work. Beautiful dismount.
Alexeva, senior from Plano, Texas. She was born in Russia, moved to Texas when she was 8 years old. Part of the Russian national team, runners-up at the World Championships in 2018. She competed all over Europe. Rucker went 9.85. Jaylene Gilstrap now, anchor spot for Utah on the vault. Did not vault at UCLA. Had a career high 9.925 against Oregon State.
She has a gorgeous pull. She keeps her body straight throughout the twist. Good height, good distance. Beautiful toe point.
And really playing with house money there because they had good scores all the way across the board coming in. Really, she's just trying to displace the 9.825 of McKenna Smith. Here's Carly Dockendorf's reaction. You know, vault is one of those events, and of course beam, where you really get an appreciation for how much is going on in the air.
Yes.
Because live, it happens so quickly, it's almost confusing.
Exactly, because even when you see it in slow-mo, you can catch more things.
For Chloe Whitner, the anchor spot for Stanford, this is exactly who they want up at this time. This is her best event. All 6 of her efforts, 9.8 or better. Twice has gone 9.95. They need a score.
She has a huge Takachev. You can see she really had a big swing to get back up in that kick.
Just needs to finish this routine.
Locked in on those handstands. Just really focused on all those little details. It's just that hot back.
But solid, and they did it. So after the opening fall, Stanford goes 5 for 5 on bars, and that's all good scores. We'll find out what the total was. Utah has gone 4 on the vault, well above its average. And Utah leads after one rotation at the Huntsman Center and live on the Pac-12 Network.